Okay, hi, welcome everybody. My name is Sarah Belasio and I'm a board certified art therapist at the Wellness Center at William & Mary. And this is our weekly virtual creative arts therapy class. And before we start, well, today we're going to be focusing on the medium of collage, which is just really gluing down and assembling images on paper. So let me read our waiver first. In order to make these classes as freely accessible as possible to our participants, we'll be using a verbal warning and assumption of risk at the beginning of each class. Participation in this online class is voluntary. Physical activity programs may result in injury. You're not going to get injured today, don't you worry. And by participating, you will assume the risk of injury that may result from your participation. We strongly recommend that you participate from a space that's suitable for this activity. For example, make sure you have moved nearby furniture and other potential hazards. If you're participating in a yoga class or one that involves laying on the ground, we recommend using a mat, or if you don't have one, a carpeted area. Participants are encouraged to stop if they experience pain or injury and should seek appropriate medical advice or care as needed. William & Mary Health and Wellness strongly recommends that each participant have a physical exam and follow the advice of your healthcare advisor before participating. Okay, doesn't exactly apply, but we have to read it each time. So I wanted to say for today, what you'll need is collage materials. So that includes scissors, magazines or old papers, or even if you ever got into scrapbooking, things like that, fancy recycled papers, whatever you have, glue stick, and then something to collage on, some kind of paper background. I don't have it with me today, but I also love, if you're into collage, a really great medium is called Modge Podge. If you've ever seen that at Michael's or anywhere, that stuff's great. So basically what it is a fancy collage glue that you can kind of put over top of your piece when you're done, and it really seals it and gives it kind of like a nice sheen too. It's not necessary, it's kind of an extra thing, but I can't expect people to have all sorts of supplies like this during when we're at home. So I kind of just went with the basics. But I want to show you guys a couple things. So I'm going to share my screen. I wanted to talk about how collage was invented. Collage was in fact started by Pablo Picasso. I don't know if you know that, but he's the artist that he was in the Cubist period, and he would put like an ear up here and an eye down here, on a portrait. He really mixed up all the parts and where they went. And he liked to do that with painting, but he found that he could start his paintings or get his ideas from collage by mixing it up, by just cutting and pasting it down. And so or like assembling a face and rearranging it how he wants, or whatever his image was. So I want to show you a couple examples. I'm going to try to share my screen for you all to see. Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen now. Can y'all see it?
It looks like your screen. It says, need someone else to schedule your meeting?
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so now this is what I wanted to show you. So I looked up some of his, let me get this out of here, his images. I wanted to show you some of his first collage images like this. So he really just started by cutting out some simple shapes and rearranging them. And that's what inspired some of his paintings. Hold on, I thought we had a few more images by him. Let me pull it up. I don't have it other than this one here. But I'll show you, and it can give you a good idea of, here we go, here's some more images of how his work started. And you can see this is the beginnings of collage, right? He would cut up old newspapers or other things and lay them on top of one another. And he did that as a form of, initially to start seeing kind of how he liked his portraits and things to look. And then it became kind of his own art form where you can see he would then take it and make a painting or something like this. So I want to show you that. And then for today, what we're going to be doing, if I can pull it up, I thought of the idea, I have two ideas. One is kind of like a self-portrait collage, okay? So where you could cut out, say, a profile, a hand, or some meaningful shape as kind of like a background for your collage, as you can see in these images here. And then another thought I had is, I'm going to stop sharing now and come back to you all, is the idea of like a powerful or an affirmation word for yourself. So what we would do, I'm going to show you my screen. Sorry, I got to grab my pen back here. Is think of a word, maybe an affirmation word or a word that is important to you. Maybe you want it as a reminder around you. It could be, you know, something that you need right now, maybe like peace or, I mean, gosh, I'm thinking right now, endurance is something we all need, or resilience or things like that. So say I pick the word peace. That's what I'm really feeling I need right now. So I'm going to write it out, and you can use pencil or whatever you have. I just happen to have this marker here. It doesn't matter what you start with. I'm going to write my word. Could be a symbol, could be the peace sign. It could be, again, an image, like I said, of the face, hands, something meaningful to you. Could be a heart if you're feeling like we all need the reminder of like loving kindness and things like that. So I'm writing out this word first in kind of bold block letters. I hope y'all can see this. And then what I'm gonna do is simply begin to collage this. And it could maybe be the images that you pull to fit inside this or inside your portrait or whatever shape it is, could be based on, so say you were doing the more of the self-portrait one, inside that shape or that face, you could pull images that are meaningful to you, that you're drawn to. For this word collage I'm gonna do right now, I've decided I wanna do each letter a different color. So what I'll do is say I'm gonna start with green, and I just have a bunch of old magazines and flyers and things here. There's kind of two ways you can go about it. You can neatly cut them out. That's not my style. I'm gonna tear them because I like the way that looks. And it's almost like a little mosaic. So I tear up my colors. I'm gonna start, I think, with the letter P in being green. Shades of green. So I'm going to, as you can see, tear and then fill in. Maybe I want a little smaller than that. Definitely. And then look for other shades of green variations. And so you'll notice that one thing about collage that's different than other art forms is there is a lot of like hunting and pecking, right? You have to go through your magazine, and feel free, those of you that are here live, you can go ahead and start. I'm just kind of doing this introductory. But one thing that people do find challenging, that I have a little tip for, one thing people find challenging is like, say you're looking for a certain color or a certain item to go on your collage. That's what I mean by there's a lot of like hunting and pecking, right? So you kind of are looking through these things a lot to find that specific thing you want. And that can be challenging to people. And I used to have my own art therapy practice. And in that, or if you have your own space where you like to do crafting and do art, what I used to do is have little folders. Say you get really into collage or, you know, this medium, little folders of, you know, important words that stand out to you, maybe certain images, animals, you could organize it, food, nature. And when you see them, if you're looking through a magazine or if you're around, you know, just relaxing and going through your mail and you say, oh, that's a really beautiful image, you can kind of store them in folder, and then you would have those so that you don't have to do the hunting and pecking. That's if you get really into this. So I'm going to just continue with my collage. And what I wanted to say is if you did want to do the Modge Podge, you would, complete the whole image first and then do a really thick coating of the Modge Podge, which can be found at Michael's or probably even Staples, Walmart. A lot of those places have it. And don't be afraid. You put on a nice thick coat on it and it will look white at first, but don't worry, it dries crystal clear. So, and then I'll just continue to look for images. I'm going by color. You could go by things, that you're drawn to or that are meaningful to you for some reason. You could just say, oh, I really like the way that looks. And so I'm just kind of filling mine in piece by piece as I go. And I'll keep going for a bit. And then if we were doing this art therapy session in person, we would all be interacting and I would have the materials for you. But right now we're doing it virtually. So basically I'm going to keep doing a little bit more on my collage. And then for those of us that are live, I'm going to turn it off and we can interact and talk more. But feel free, if you have a question for me about collage, those of you that are here, feel free to put that in the chat and I can answer it as we go. I'll just kind of finish this letter P that I'm doing, and then we will turn off the recording and we can interact more. So just finding a variety of greens, of the color green, and then here we go. And then each color I think I'm going to do, sorry, each letter I will do a different color. And it ends up creating this really pretty mosaic effect. And I actually wish I had done this with pencil because it's nice when you don't see any outline, you kind of erase it if you did do it with pencil. But you can really collage anything. Last week I led another class like this on art journaling. And that's just really when you have a journal and we were using a variety of mediums, including collage, where you just put down your thoughts and feelings and you're really about self-expression. And so you could do kind of like a daily journal collage. You could collage onto things. It's really fun to collage onto like little boxes. They sell like cardboard boxes at Michael's and even Amazon. Oh yeah, Amazon's a great place to get the Modge Podge too. But you could collage onto anything, really. That's what that Modge Podge is for. But in these groups, I usually like to give people a little theme or something to work from, because sometimes the hardest part about making art is actually just getting started and doing it, I find. So it's nice to have someone kind of give you like a project or a theme to work from. So I'm going to keep going with this and just show you my finished P. My letter P in peace, and then I think we'll turn off the recording so that people can interact more. But here's what I've done so far. There's my P, and I'll finish this throughout. But for those of you that are at home, I hope you enjoyed this. Those are us that are live. We're not ending, but I'm going to wrap up the recording. And there's plenty of different of these virtual creative arts classes on the Wellness Center's YouTube. So if you enjoyed this today, they're all on there recorded, and you could do them at home at your leisure. All right, so here was our collage project for today, and I'll stop the recording now.